In the northern mountains of Laos, near the border with Vietnam, there's a village that doesn't appear on any map. The locals in nearby towns won't speak its name. They'll only tell you this: don't go to the village where the silk never stops. This is the story of Dr. Sarah Vang, an anthropologist from California, and what she found in the weaving room. If you are enjoying the videos on my channel, please like, subscribe, and share. This helps me greatly to be able to continue creating videos for you and your friends to enjoy for free. In the summer of 2019, Sarah received a grant to study traditional Hmong textile practices in remote Laotian villages. She'd heard rumors of a village, Ban Nang Mai, where women still practiced ancient weaving techniques, creating silk so fine it was said to be touched by spirits. Her translator, Kam, refused to take her there. "That place is cursed," he said. "My aunt went there 20 years ago. She came back different." But Sarah offered him triple his fee. Money talks, even when fear whispers. The journey took 2 days through deteriorating roads and dense jungle. On the second afternoon, they reached Ban Nang Mai. The village was too quiet. No children playing, no dogs barking. Just the constant rhythmic sound of looms clacking in the distance. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, never stopping. An elderly man with milky eyes met them at the village edge. "You've come for the weaving," he said, not a question. He led them to a windowless longhouse at the village center, with strange symbols carved into the doorframe. Kam grabbed Sarah's arm. "Sarah, don't..." But the door was already opening. Inside, 12 women sat at 12 looms, weaving in perfect synchronization. The silk they were creating was extraordinary, so fine it seemed to shimmer with its own light. "It's beautiful," Sarah breathed, approaching the nearest loom. That's when she noticed the thread. It wasn't white, like silk should be. It was faintly pink, flesh-colored, and it was coming from the woman herself. Sarah watched in horror as the woman reached behind her head and pulled. A strand emerged from the base of her skull, glistening and wet. She fed it into the loom. The silk was made from her own body. Sarah stumbled backward, but Kam was already gone. She heard his motorcycle roaring away. He'd left her. The eldest woman stopped weaving and turned to face Sarah. Her scalp was covered in tiny holes, like the skin had been punctured thousands of times. "The silk of Ban Nang Mai is famous because it carries life itself," she said in a voice like wind through dead leaves. "Each thread is memory, experience, soul. This is how we preserve our ancestors." The old man spoke quietly. "We are running low on material. The young girls leave for the cities. They don't understand sacrifice." Sarah ran, but the old man was stronger than he looked. The women left their looms, moving in unison, their eyes glazed. They sat her at the empty 13th loom. The bone tool touched the base of her skull. The pain was extraordinary. And then the threading began. 3 days later, Kam told authorities that Dr. Vang had explored a restricted area alone and never returned. An official search found nothing. The American embassy made noise for a few weeks, then moved on. Kam moved to Bangkok with his triple fee, but he couldn't escape the nightmares. Every night, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. 13 looms weaving in the dark. 6 months later, the finest silk shop in Vientiane received a shipment from Ban Nang Mai. The silk was extraordinary, shimmering with patterns that looked almost like words, like faces, like screaming mouths. A tourist from California bought 3 meters for her daughter's wedding dress. She never noticed that when light hit the silk at certain angles, you could see letters woven into the pattern, HELPME, over and over. The tourist's name was Margaret Vang, Sarah's mother. That night, Margaret had a dream. She was in a room with no windows. 13 women sat at 13 looms, weaving endlessly. At the 13th loom, a young woman with Sarah's face pulled threads from her own skull. The woman looked up and mouthed 2 words, "Find me." The dreams continued every night. Margaret booked a flight to Laos. She hired a guide named Boonsong who went pale when he saw Sarah's photo. "I know where she is," he said quietly, "but you cannot help her." He told her about the weaving room where women sit until their bodies have nothing left to give. The village has existed for 300 years. The women there are not entirely alive, not entirely dead. They exist to weave. As long as the silk exists, they are trapped in that moment of creation, forever. Margaret went anyway. Boonsang led her to Ban Nang Mai, but refused to enter. 3 hours, he said. "If you are not back, I leave." Margaret walked to the longhouse. Inside, 13 women sat at 13 looms. The 13th weaver was younger, with darker hair. Margaret recognized her daughter's profile. "Sarah," she whispered. Sarah didn't turn. Her fingers moved mechanically, pulling thread from her skull, feeding it into the loom, but her lips moved. "Kill me." The old man and 2 younger men grabbed Margaret. "Another American," he observed. "How touching." Margaret had brought a knife. In one swift motion, she cut through all the threads on Sarah's loom. 6 months of weaving, destroyed in seconds. The reaction was immediate and terrible. Sarah screamed, the first sound she'd made in months. Her body convulsed. The other women stopped weaving and began to scream too. A chorus of agony. The longhouse began to shake. The floor cracked. Beneath the floorboards, the bodies of all the weavers who had come before, preserved but not dead, pulled themselves from the earth. Margaret grabbed Sarah and ran. Bouncing had the motorcycle running. "Go!" Margaret shouted, throwing Sarah onto the bike. They fled as Ban Nang Mai tore itself apart behind them. Sarah didn't speak for 3 days. When she finally did, her first words were, "It's still there." The connection, the thread, even cut, even severed, Sarah could still feel the pull to return, to weave, to complete the pattern. The doctors said it would fade. It didn't. Sarah returned to California and tried to resume her life. But every night, she dreamed of the weaving room. In the mornings, she'd wake to find her fingers moving in the weaving motion, unconscious, automatic. She wore turtlenecks to hide the scars at the base of her skull, tiny holes that were spreading, like her body was trying to resume its purpose. 1 year after the rescue, Sarah disappeared. She left a note. "I'm sorry, Mom. I have to go back. The pattern isn't complete. I can feel it pulling me. I can't fight it anymore." Margaret hired investigators, spent her life savings, but Sarah was gone, vanished into the mountains like she'd never existed. Sometimes, late at night, Margaret receives packages with no return address. Inside, silk. Fine, beautiful, shimmering with impossible patterns, and in certain light she can see the pattern resolve into a message. "I'm sorry, Mom. I love you, but the weaving must continue." Margaret returned to California. She burned every piece of silk she owned, but sometimes, on quiet nights, she swears she can hear it. Click-clack, click-clack, click-clack. 13 looms weaving in the dark. And in the mountains of northern Laos, there's a village that doesn't appear on any map. But if you're ever offered silk that seems too beautiful to be real, silk that shimmers with patterns like trapped light, like screaming faces, like words you can almost read, don't buy it, don't touch it, don't even look too closely, because some threads, once pulled, can never be severed, and some patterns, once begun, must be completed, no matter how long it takes. Click-clack, 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 forever.
Subscribe if